Good evening, lords and ladies. I'm Night Before Dawn, and welcome back to Sons of the Forest. Today, I would like to essentially do a review of some of the techniques I've demonstrated in the past, just to give you one place to go to look at your advanced foundation manipulation techniques. So, first, I'm going to start with the horizontal offsets, which are pretty straightforward. For a 50% or 1/2 grid offset, you can take any length log as long as it's not a full log and go too high on one of your foundations, and then you can take full logs and come down off at the end. This one's giving me the easy option, so I'm gonna take it. I'll probably have to do it the other way soon anyways, so I'm not too concerned. But I lift that into place, and because I was too high there, the height did not change. Did I grab it? I grabbed the 3/4 log. I wanted the full log. Alright, and as you can see, this gives me a grid that is at the same height, but it is offset from this one by about half of the, almost exactly actually, half of the length of one of the side logs. So that's why I call it a 50% or half offset. If you want to do any other offsets, like that are smaller, there's a couple ways you can do it, but I find the best method is to take 3/4 logs, which is why I started this one with 3/4 logs. And for these ones, it does matter what size, what length logs you've got, but if you build 3 high, that gives you a consistent, just ever so slightly more than a 1/12 offset. But you place the 3/4 logs vertically on each side of this like that, and then you want to place a log vertical off the end of the sloped log, not on top of this log, but on the end of the sloped log. But to be able to do that, you need to place planks. And there we go. At least one plank has to be placed on there. And then once the plank is there, you just are given that snap point. And then I like to come out here, grab a 1/4 log and lift the bottom of this into place, and it looks like it's really close to the same height. And the one thing that's nice about the 1/12 offsets is they stay aligned to the grid. In this way you don't have to bring them back in line, they just already kind of are. But they're also out of line by that 1/12 of a grid, which is half the thickness of a log sideways. So to get to a 1/4 offset, I repeat this 3 times. There are other methods, and in a previous video I demonstrated the other methods. I am not going to include that here because they lead to a more severe height offset. So instead of having that more severe height offset getting added into this, I'm going to try and stick to only horizontal offsets by doing my best to eliminate the differences vertically. So if I repeat this, and I'll clean up these. I don't want to have a whole bunch of these kicking around. Then place this here, bring it down, lift the end, and fill in the grid. And sometimes it won't let you snap back to there like this. I find if I come back this way, go that way, and that way, it usually solves that issue. And then you can just clean up these extra ones if you don't want them here. That doesn't matter. You'll probably be cleaning up a lot of this and then building your way back over to where you want to go, depending on how much of an offset you want. But I'm going to do this one more time. Where did the 3/4 logs go? I think I pushed them through the ground by setting a log in a certain spot. So I will just make myself a 3/4 log. There we go, that works. And the same thing again, 3 3/4 logs. Slope down towards me. Place a plank. And there we go. So that should be the most you ever really need to do, is 3 frames, because you're dealing with 12ths and you can go to 50%, so you can do the 50% and come back 2 frames, and that will give you the 4th 12th and the 5th 12th. So you can just usually do all of it just based off of a 1/12 offset, or in only 3 frames. The other ways, yes, it's only 1 frame that you have to worry about, but like I was saying earlier, it is a much more noticeable height discrepancy. The newer foundations are noticeably lower. I'll actually demonstrate that right here. If I come to this and then place that there and that there, you can even see that there's a bit of a height difference here. With the other methods, that height difference is even more noticeable. So I'm just going to actually come out here and bring this over, because it does accumulate with each successive time you do this. So I'll just quickly do the same thing here. And as you can see, there's about a half a log gap between the 2 logs, because at the 1/4 log length, it is 1.5 logs between where the logs are. And as you can see, that is a even more noticeable height discrepancy. And this is a 1/4 offset. It is actually just slightly more than a 1/4 offset, and that actually allows you to do some proper force snapping. But I will be getting into the force snapping a little bit more later, so let's just not worry about that here. I'll place that like that, and there's some more examples of force snapping and a way to avoid it. But anyways, I've gone through the 2 different types of horizontal offsets that have the least amount of vertical variation. So I will move on to the next part, which is actually vertical offsets, which is why I didn't want there to be much height discrepancy over here, because I would prefer to deal with vertical offsets. So these will all be offset from the grid by 50%, or from the initial grid by 50%, but I'm going to start with just 1 log, and then I'll come down off an end. Doesn't matter which end right now. This one gave me the thing. So there we are. I'll place this under there, which is a 1/4 log. All of my foundations always start at 1/4 logs. So, and as you can see, the 1 log here usually brings this up. So it will only bring it down if you happen to be quite a bit higher off the ground with your first bit of foundation. So, but as you can see, it is noticeably higher. It's a 50% offset right now, but I'm going to actually bring a 50% offset in a bit. So I'm just going to place that there, that there, that there. The next one I'm going to do is going to be just the regular 50% offset with no height change, just to show you the differences in heights that are here, and it's the least amount of work to get there. So can I bring this down off of this side? Nope. Nope. Okay, let's place this here. Can I now? Nope. Where did that 1/4 log go? I want to do it this way, so let's do it that way. Put the rock away. And now I'll come down off of that. And it doesn't matter if you slope off of a lift like that or just off of the other thing, it's always going to behave the same. And this should not change the height. As you can see, that looks like it's about the same height, and I'll even demonstrate here that it is the same height. Because if you crouch down here, it just, you can see that that height did not change. Come on, let me go down. So, and now I'm going to remove this again, and I will show you the next step in this process, which is actually a lower foundation by 1/12. And to do so, it's the same difference as the last ones. You increase that to 3 logs, and will it be the easy way? No, it won't. Now will it? No, it won't. It's really not cooperating. And like I said before, I was probably going to have to show you this, so I'm showing you now. Now I can come down off of that, grab my 1/4 log, lift this up, and you'll notice it seems awfully short compared to all the others. And if I come back over here like this, I can place that. Let's just push you out of the way. No, I want to push you out of the way. Thank you. Place that like that, and that one like that, and there we go. We have 1/12 lifted and 1/12 dropped off of the initial foundation height. And they're all 50% offset, so you can either start with one reference foundation that is, so that your build ends up 50 or a half grid off of that one, your entire build, when doing this, or you can use the method I used for this grid to get it offset as well, and you can just bring these two back in line with this grid. I think this is easier because there's just less work involved, but it's pretty well the same. And the next step for this, if I go like this, like this, like this, and then do this here and that there, you'll notice that this actually slopes down to that, and it just so happens that it is almost a perfect 50%. Oh, it's even gonna let me build like that. That is nice. I don't want that. I want this. Actually, I can still get that to be like that. So let's put this here. Let's do that, and then that. There we go. And I will just demonstrate what this height difference is by doing that. It just so happens to match perfectly with the same height difference that those were. It's 50% thickness of a log. So once you have 3 1/12 offsets, to get to the next stage up, you can use a 1/4 log, and it just does the rest for you. Anyways, I'm gonna clear up that mess there, and I will move on from vertical offsets two rotational offsets. So this one is pretty straightforward. I like to build myself an L shape right off the bat from a center point. The first log I had placed down is my center point. I'm not going to mark it right now with a taller log or anything because I need to be able to jump up on it and work from it a lot, but this L shape is kind of the crux of the entire build. And then I come over here, I stand on this, and I try and get that arrow to point straight up at me, and then I walk forward. As soon as that dotted line with the circle appears, I try and line it up with the next log over, and actually I did a pretty decent job. It's not perfect, but it's decent. So that's going to be good enough for now, and I'm going to just do the same thing as I did for the other one and make a L shape. Actually, I'm not going to make an L shape. I'm going to make a zigzag shape because that brings this close together, and that'll be useful for the next step if you're continuing. This happens to be exactly a 45-degree angle. Like the foundation for one of these is a 45, the foundation, or compared to the foundation for the other one. But I'm going to be removing both of these, and I want to get a little bit more precise on my angles. So I'm going to crouch down here, and I'm going to aim directly between those two logs to try and center it. Ooh. And as you can see, I can't really see what I'm working with here, so that's going to be an issue. So let's throw these down, and the best solution I've found for this is to go into the utilities section here, grab a stick path. I'll start here with my stick path and go right past there, and there we go, a stick path. This doesn't interfere with your ability to build in the area, and it gets rid of all the grass that's in the way, and now I can see where that is. So make sure I'm centered well on this. Looks pretty good. Aim at that, come forward, and that looks decent. This is one of the harder ones to do. I am way out because when the edges of the two close logs are lined up, I'm about halfway across that. That means the other one will probably be edge, 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 and I don't want that, so I wasn't very well lined up. That was just bad aim on my part. Even though I had nice clear view of what I was aiming at, it was just bad aim. And in this case, that looks a lot better. As you can see, it's about a quarter of the log that's overlapping there, and if I come over here to line those ones up, it's close to a quarter of a log, so I'm pretty decent there. And now it doesn't matter which side I'm going to go out because that's there. I'll go out this side, and I will just build out square, make the L shape again, except this time it's inverted, but you can clearly see the L shape, and I'll remove the corner again. This grid that I just made is 22.5 degrees off of both of those, and I am just going to be, there we go, standing here and doing the 45 off of that. Yeah, that one's pretty good too. Nice. And what that does, I don't necessarily need to put these out here, but I like to put them out here. And just to make things a little more clear for you guys, I'm going to put these on top of the temporary logs that I will be removing once I get into building. So all of those logs that have, or all of those short support logs that have logs on top of them are temporary. Technically the other ones could be temporary too, depending on how you work with it, but these are here as anchor points just in case something messes up. In fact, I'm going to force it to mess up to show you how to fix a certain issue in a bit. But I'm going to place this here off of that, this here off of that, and this here off of that. As you can see, I've got a grid connecting to four different grids all lined up, evenly spaced off of this. And if I try to grab a log here and snap to it, as you can see, it'll only connect to one of them. and that is not what we want. The trick to making it connect is placing a second log on top of there, and then all of them will be able to snap in here. I can just place the logs. This works if you stop at the 45 point and don't carry on to the 22.5s or whatever. But there are times when you get a red arrow on those logs. Oftentimes it's because that got removed or whatever, but see, I've got red arrows now. The easy solution is not the way I got the red arrows. If you pick up these and place them down, it is a solution. Sometimes it will work, but I find that most of the time when you pick up the center point log and place it back down, you get the red arrows. The way to fix that, which is the main reason that I wanted to leave these here, is to pick up all of your pick up all of your closest logs to the center point and then try and replace them. You should have grid lines that snap to each of your temporary grids. And now I should be able to pick this up, and I should have the white lines again to place these coming into the center. And then off of that I can pick this up, it doesn't matter anymore, and I can just build out my shape however I want it and carry on. They'll all just lift into place, and in this case I happen to have made a 16-sided shape that I could carry out and build on. Oh, come on. There we are. Another thing I'd like to talk about, I don't have a whole lot of room over here, so I'm going to run over here to this spot, and I'm just going to extend a couple of these out a bit. So let's go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as you can see, I'm unable to snap this into here. So if your foundations happen to have or to meet up at a single point, and you didn't initially start at that point, the best solution for getting anything to snap to it properly is to raise up one of the snap points above the original snap point, and then come towards it from the other side like this. And then you want to anchor that or snap that to the rest of your grid or whatever the heck you happen to be doing. And then you come over to this, and I call it dropping in a snap point because I'm actually just going to chop this down here and drop that elevated snap point down, and that should give me more points where I can do this. Sometimes things are a little awkward, you have to remove a log or whatever temporarily, but you should be able to get everything back into place afterwards. And once you've anchored this and have at least 2 logs connected to the dropped in snap point, you can remove that, place that log in, remove that. The order that you remove those 2 doesn't matter, or if you remove both of them or not doesn't matter. And there you go, you have your snap points right here all overlapping, and you can carry on with your build from that point. This is useful for a lot of different situations when you're dealing with rotated and offset grids that happen to end up at some point overlapping. Anyways, now that we've talked about all of that, I would like to carry on and talk about force snapping. I've talked a little bit about it over here, but force snapping can be, let's just say, problematic. So I'm going to quickly run over here. Oh, that's a 3/4 log. Sure, we'll use a 3/4 log. It doesn't matter for what I'm doing, because I'm going to do it on a 50% offset. You can do it on smaller offsets, as small as 1/4 offset, but and as large, you can do it as large as a 1 full log offset. Oh, this is going to let me do it the easy way this time. Nice. Let's just quickly place this down like this, because I want a 1/4 log, which I don't see around for some reason. Whatever, doesn't matter. There we go, 1/4 log, perfect. Let's lift this up. Alright, and there we go, I have my 50% offset. And I'll go away this time, just because I feel like it. And I'll make myself a little grid right here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do with this is, off the front, I'll just show you a few different methods for dealing with force snapping. I have this, so I might as well pick up all these because they're just in the way at the moment a little bit. Okay, so I'll come out forward here and do one type of force snapping, which is angular force snapping. You place a log across the tip of your current log. There's a couple ways you can do this. One, I could just place this like this, and sometimes this will allow me to place it, but as you can see, it's not giving me the arrow to place out there. Sometimes it will, and oftentimes it'll just automatically be force snapped, but that's the exception. Usually you have to place this here, and you place the log on the one you want things to connect to first. So I want this log end to snap over to here, so I'm going to place my log right there first, and then this one here, and remove it, and it just snaps over to where I wanted it. To avoid that from happening, if you say you have your build and you need to remove some logs, and there just so happens to be a log going across there, and say you accidentally place that log and want to remove it, to avoid it force snapping, all you need to do is anchor the log, and there you go. But if you don't want this here permanently, you will have to remove that log first before you remove anything else. So just be careful with it. Another form of force snapping is actually, well, I need these out here, and I'll just carry this out one more. As you can see, I'm able to place that underneath there, but I wanted to do some force snapping. So if I place a log here, and then exactly the same as before, all of a sudden it gets shortened and connects together. That is another form of force snapping. That is linear force snapping. And linear force snapping is a lot less forgiving than other force snapping methods. Like if I take this, actually no, I'm going to do it out the same side just to show you that it's not based on direction or anything. Oh, I want to be holding these. And I will do the same thing exactly again, but this log is now sitting level. Now I am unable to remove this force snap log. And even if I pick up this and pick up this, still can't remove it. Pick up this, pick up this, pick up this. Still, oh, I can remove it. Sometimes even at this point you can't remove this. I got lucky and I was able to remove it. Sometimes you can't, and the only way to remove it at that point is by chopping it with your axe. So be careful when dealing with that. And another one that's kind of similar to linear, I call sloped force snapping, and you just place a vertical log, and if I just do this right now, same thing, it doesn't snap to where I want it to, but if I place a log here, it'll snap down at that slope. Both linear and sloped force snapping have a minimum offset of 1/4 of a log and a maximum offset of a full log. There are some unique cases which I have not been able to consistently replicate yet, where you can get longer than a full log, but I have not ever been able to get shorter than a 1/4 log. it just does not give me that option. But anyways, that is most of the information you should need on force snapping. The best ways to avoid it are when you're removing logs, make sure you anchor the points you do not want to move. Anything that's attached to a log you're removing, you want to have at least 2 other logs attached to that same point, and then you don't have to worry about force snapping. But if you end up with a single log that it just I'm removing one thing from it and there is another log crossing near the end, as soon as I remove this, it will force snap. So to avoid that, just anchor your ends. If you want it to happen, well then just let it happen. Anyways, I have one more thing to showcase, and this is kind of a new thing that I haven't really worked with much yet. So I'm just going to bring these over here. And as you can see, I've got a bit of a frame here. And I'm going to cut one of these logs in half. And there we go. And I'm just going to place this out here like this. And even though these have nothing special going on, actually I'll do it this way so you can know that I don't have any foundation logs there. I'm just using the auto lift that the game does. And let's just bring this out forward. When you're at 1/4 log height like this, you cannot do double extensions on your foundations. It just doesn't give you the all of the options to place and remove things. Like I can't place this strut under here, and I'm unable to place a 1/4 log under these. I'll double check that just to be certain. But oh, it is going to let me do it. I've had in the past where it doesn't want to let me do this, but it may not let me remove them. So I'm just going to have to be careful with that. That. Let's just quickly place this here. That. Toss this because I cut my half log down. So oh, come on. You can do it. There it is. There we are. And now then I'm going to lift this one up and lift this one up. It's a lot more difficult at 1/4 height to get it to work. And I'm going to place this here because this allows me to place a log across here, which this is the key to the entire thing. I can remove that log, I can remove that strut, I can remove this log. Yep, okay, it does let you do it, but it is a little more difficult at this height. So now I have a double overhang on my foundation. So if, say, you want to build over top of something, you can do it as long as you can support it temporarily for your build. You can do it, and you're not limited to maintaining the current height you've got. I'm actually going to come grab these, and let's just come up off of here. And you can use 1/4 logs, you can use half logs. This part, or for this, it doesn't matter. But I'll just slope this out here and grab my half logs. And I'm going to lift these like this because I'm going to be carrying on with this a little bit more, but I'll place the struts in anyways as well because they will be needed. And this will make what I've done a little bit more clear. So now I place this out here and this out here. And this time I'm not going to place the one under the end, but and show you why it doesn't really work this way. Like, there are ways, like I could remove that and it'll work, but I'll never be able to remove this if I do that. And I will just show you that right now. Oh, it is going to let me, but that drops down. So the way to prevent that issue is, well, I need these. I need to place the up arrow there. To pick this up, do this. And I'm actually going to, and that is why you want to place that like that, and place this across here, because as soon as that's placed across there, and you have your strut here, you can, well, I'll just leave this on maybe so I'm not making a mess, but you can remove that, you can remove the strut, and you can remove the support log. And you can remove this strut and this support log. And as you can see, I have a 2-frame overhang. I can't remove these ones, but I don't really want to. I like the looks of them. So yeah, if you want double overhangs, and this works really well for bridges. But yeah, if you want double overhangs, that is how you do it. And I believe that is everything for this foundation video, because this is, to me, is a bridge foundation. I will be coming back into this world for a later video to do some of the roofing techniques based off of these, but I will see you when that time comes, and if you like what you've seen and you'd like to see more, I would greatly appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much.